Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. Joseph James, SchoolTrade.com. It's August 16th, 2010. We're already halfway through the month of August, guys. More than 3/4 of the way through the summertime, and another great day here in a live trade room. I want to remind you though, guys, before we talk about the trades we took today, if you're on the blog right now, there are a bunch of key important resources in the blog right now. You can search the blog. That search box at the top, that'll help you guys find all the different topics we talk about. We have our live support team. Of course, don't forget we got YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, right? All kinds of great social media there. But most importantly, down in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see the follow me button. Very important, guys. We're going to be posting articles and trade calls and videos and all kinds of great free stuff on our blog. And you'll want to make sure you always get the most current. That way you can, of course, take advantage of some of the trade calls we've made here over the past couple months in the blog. So follow the blog. If you can't follow the blog, guys, the next best thing is to follow the newsletter. Okay, so right below that follow me button, you'll see a sign up form for the newsletter. That way you always get all the new stuff when it comes out. Now, we only took 3 trades today, but we made $1,000. So a pretty good day today. Didn't have much going on, and of course we'll talk about that in a second. Of course, Monday morning though, we always expect a little bit slow, right? So we took 3 total trades, 81 ticks, 938 USD, and that's always because the euro, of course, is at 12.50 per tick. So 81 ticks, 938 in. That brings our monthly total here now to 13.8, so a little shy of 14,000 for the month yet, guys. And we are doing a great job at trading right through this summertime chop and slop. We trade in the euro, we trade in the Russell, 13,000 for the month, 120,000 for the year, and of course we'll keep you guys posted throughout the rest of the month. Now, the most important that happened today. Well, again, Mondays in the summertime are expected to be slow. So we, of course, knew going in today that we're going to have some slower price action at the open, right? Mondays are always slow. Now, what we saw this morning was about 9 o'clock, the dollar began to jump. And with the dollar jumping on some fears, there was some chatter this morning about some fears of the interest rates in Europe. And whatever those thoughts were, it caused the dollar, of course, to jump. And the dollar, as you guys know, has a negative correlation, which caused the gold to drop. It caused the cruise to drop, right? It caused the Russell to drop, right? And the big thing was it caused the euro to drop. Okay, so when the dollar began to rise, the euro dropped, and of course we made a bunch of money, right, by shorting the euro. We then lost connection. Now, this doesn't happen very often. Today we lost complete connection to the market. It was kind of hit or miss there for a while, and basically what kind of happened was, I think it gave a lot of traders excuse to kind of leave the market early that day. Because when we came back from losing connection about a half an hour later, we saw very slow speed. In fact, it felt like the market had completely gone to sleep. So we lost connection for a little while. I didn't lose power, right? Didn't lose internet connection. We just lost our data connection for a while, and it was market wide. So when it came back, right, when the connection came back, it felt like people had already called it a day and gone to lunch. Okay, we then, of course, went to the 11 o'clock hour. We then, of course, tested the Russell's highs. We saw the Russells test the highs. The mini Russell, one of our favorite markets for new traders. And so whenever we see the Russell test the high of day, we're going to look to sell the high of day. And that's exactly what we did. So a slow start to the day, but then, of course, the dollar began to move, which gave us an entry for the euro. We made a bunch of money in the euro. We lost connection for a little while. Then we came back. The market was real quiet, but the Russell then tested the highs, 11 o'clock, and we looked to, of course, short that Russell. All right, guys. Now, on the gold this morning, gold was testing all brand new highs today. But with those new highs, you can see here we're now inside of this channel. So here's my channel low, and if you guys recall, right, we were waiting to get inside this channel. See that? 1, 2, right, almost 3 days last week. So we were trying to break inside of this channel from the downside a couple times last week. Finally, here this morning, we find ourselves popped right above. But there were some signs, though, guys. This was something that we saw right away. So with gold making new highs, right, getting into the channel, guys, what does that tell me to do? Well, the first thing is look for some resistance now that I can use, right, to sell these highs, right? Give me some sort of level. But that was the problem. As you can see here now on gold, right, where's all my levels, right? Where are all my price levels, right? I don't have anything to work with yet. Okay, so that was the first thing, right? The first thing we saw here that was concerning was there were no price levels, right? These are all-time highs. So at all-time highs, I don't have a double top to look for, right? I don't have anything to work with. The second thing here that concerned us was we had low volume, right? The volume was very, very low. And guys, remember, when you see a move up like this on very low volume, what does that tell us? when the volume shows back up, it's going to drop, right, probably further than it went up. So we had no price levels overhead. I had very low volume as we broke above those all-time highs, and having low volume when we make new highs, what does that tell us, guys? I'm not gonna buy this now, right? I'm not gonna be a buyer with price rising on low volume. And of course, I can't be a seller because I have no price levels overhead, right? I've got no resistance levels overhead. So on gold this morning, what we're doing, we were taking our hands and placing them directly under our behinds, right? Sitting on our hands. And then, of course, we kept watching and waiting and looking to see, is gold going to give us something to work with today? And it gave us nothing. All we saw was this choppy price action, right, sideways once we came off those new highs. All right, now we look for the two-step pattern short here. It happened over the news, though, so we couldn't really take it. But again, very low volume on the gold. And you can see the fast time frame here is just chopping around sideways. So we knew, of course, first of all, I couldn't buy these. I couldn't buy the rising price because low volume. I couldn't sell here because I had no resistance. And we waited a little bit for the gold to make its move, but it never made its move, so we never took a trade on it. Right? Crude was a very similar situation here, except crude wasn't making new highs. Right? You can see crude here right now is very choppy around this bottom area. So we saw, of course, trend lines, right? All kinds of these trend lines coming up from a previous swing low here and marking up those trend lines at all these swing lows, because we know, right? We know price is going to rattle around inside of this area until we break up to the upside. Okay, so on crude this morning, we really saw, right, a ton of levels here. And here's how I found them. What happened is we had crude made this what I call kind of a horseshoe pattern. And that's where it goes like this, right? It's going to start off down here. It's going to launch up, right, and then start coming back down. And as it comes back down, right, it stumbles on the way down. So what do? I'm going to grab my trend line here, and I'll draw a trend line, right, at those lows, right? Drawing trend lines at those lows. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'm going to mark up trend lines at the low, at the low, at the low, right? That way, when price begins to now jump back to the upside here, right, it's going to bounce off that one, right? It's going to hit all of these trend lines as it goes back up. So that was the idea here, guys, on this slower time frame chart, is we had, as you can see, the momentum indicator, the trend lines here, right? Trend lines coming up from the bottom, right? Hitting these swing lows. And you can see here, oh my gosh, how many, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trend lines. And then you can see a channel coming down on top of it, right? So, I mean, we really had quite a bit of action going on here. And the most of the time today, we stayed sitting here right between, right, the top of the channel and the bottom of that trend line. So very tough price action on crude, because around this 75, we had double tops, double bottoms, trend lines, channels, everything around us. Okay, so the crude here, we never get a chance to trade crude either. Okay, but we knew, of course, we wanted to see. I wanted to see us below 74.80, get above 76.50, right? That would help us, but we never got there. We did take some trades today on crude, though. I'm sorry, on the euro, right? On the euro and the Russell. So let's take a look here. Now, here's the euro, first of all. Now, as you can see here, we found a channel pattern here. And, of course, a channel pattern looks like this, right? Here's your channel. I'm going to take my... Right, I'm going to sell these highs, right? Sell the highs. I'll buy the lows, right? Sell the highs, buy the lows, sell the highs, buy the lows. Okay, so what we realized right away was here, back to my chart here. What we realized right away here was that we had a channel, right? So there's my channel high, there's my channel low, and guys, we knew right away here we were going to try to sell the high of this channel, right? So there you go, you get the high of the channel right there, and so with that high of the channel, right, 28.60. We're now looking to sell these highs. So the euro tells us right off the bat, we're in a channel, and we're approaching the high of that channel, and we're going to get ready to sell here. 28.66 was those highs. Okay, so let's look what happened. Now here's my 4 range, right? Here's my 4 range chart, and as I always say to you guys, right, we're going to look for the pattern on a 34 range, right? Look at the 34 range, the 21 range, the 13 range. These will all tell me where the pattern will be. And then I'm going to zoom in now here on a 4 range chart. Once I saw price testing those highs above 66s, and I'm now going to use a scalp entry here.